we'll leave it like this. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for coming today, and welcome. One thing I just want to say is that everybody has great ideas and ways that you engage your whole family at your own MFRC. And also that I love these opportunities to get together and share as, you know, it's just sometimes the best way for me verbally to share ideas and exchange notes and from each MFRC. So these WebXs are a really great opportunity for us to get together without physically getting together and doing the same thing. So, one of the first things that I would like to do before I start in on my 3 points, one thing I just wanted to say is I found over the past, like I've been involved with MFRCs for over 25 years, and I'm a military spouse. And one way I found that has worked for myself personally, engaging the community, is when a community member is standing in front of me, I usually try to be curious. And I like that word curious because it provides me the opportunity to get to know that person, to engage them one-on-one. First of all, who's standing in front of me? You know, why are they standing in front of me? Why have they come into this program or the MFRC? You know, and when it's appropriate and when there's time, I usually try to get to know them. And I just find that this way of engaging our community makes them feel seen and heard. And I find that they're more apt to come back. They're more apt to let us know what they need and what they want when we take this opportunity to be curious about them. Who is that person in front of us? So I naturally do that. I'm a curious person and I like people, so it comes naturally to me, but it is something that I think that we can work on, and it's a way to engage our community. So I just wanted to say that. One other thing that I wanted to, before I go into my 3 points, is I'd like to have some feedback from you guys right from the start. So I'd like to ask each of you if you would like to write in the comment section or raise your hand to relay to us one event or program that you're proud of from your MFRC that you feel you engage your community in a unique way or just a way that you're proud. So Jonathan, to facilitate this, I guess they can either verbally say it or raise their hand or write it in the chat menu.
Exactly.
So would anybody like to share one right now before we start?
So Tanya has mentioned family networks.
Yes. Do you want to expand on that a little bit, Tanya? Family networks.
How have family networks helped you, Tanya?
So are you hearing Tanya, or is she writing? I'm not seeing.
Sorry.
Oh,
I was trying to find my mute button.
There we go.
Hi.
Hi. So I work with the Esquimalt MFRC. So we have each unit has their own family network. We have volunteers that run those, and we found that is a great way to engage people and make them feel like each of those units are actually that there's a connection between them.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, and ownership. Wonderful. Thank you, Tanya.
You're
Anyone
welcome.
else? Okay, so I can't see if anybody else is responding from my screen, Jonathan,
It doesn't
and I
look
can't
like
hear
there are
anybody,
any
but
other
that's okay.
responses right now.
Okay, so basically I'm going to start with I come up with 3 points that I want to share with you today, and the first point is a little bit, it sort of relates a little bit to what I just asked you, and the 3-pointer ideas in which I feel that myself here and here at the MFRC NCR that we try to engage people. The first point is to listen and respond. So it might seem kind of basic, but again, it has to do with that being curious, also listening. So examples of that, I have two examples. I have a few examples of that where a community member has come into the center or has contacted me or another member of our staff and has said, hey, for example, a few years ago, I had a lovely couple come in, and their son had recently joined the military, and they were not too familiar with the military lifestyle, and they came in looking for a resource. And we got to chatting, and we decided that perhaps we better start a little a group for parents of military members. And the group has been running successfully for 3 years now. We have anywhere from like 6 to 24 parents. Often those parents are parents of new recruits that don't have a military background. Sometimes it is parents that have military backgrounds, and they often end up sharing with other parents in this group. So that is one way where we listen to the need of a community, and we responded by offering up a fairly regular parent of military member group. And they've gone on to organize themselves to a Facebook group where across the country parents are connecting and getting together, which again is a really great organic way that you know, they have learned to help themselves with that Facebook group. It's really great. Another way recently where I have had the opportunity to listen to the community and respond is a person in the community contacted me and who is experiencing IR, imposed restriction. So, and has expressed a need or a want or whatever of getting together with others who are experiencing IR. And we had a lovely long conversation, me and this person, and again, we ended up starting a group. So we have a group now of those experiencing IR, and it's still in the beginning stages. But I feel that here in Ottawa, it's really relevant here in Ottawa. I think that there's a lot of people experiencing IR in Ottawa, and I think that it's only going to grow. So we're doing baby steps to that. We're getting together. The people that are coming to that group are really, really thankful for the mutual support in the group and the information. The information is not huge at this point in time, but they share information with each other, and it's working really well. So that's another way here in the NCR where we have listened to our community needs and responded. And the third example that I'm going to share with you is a program that's been running for, I think, 5 years, and it's Operation Family Doc. There was a real lack of family doctors a few years ago, and this program was set up and created. And in the past 5 years, I believe that we have serviced over 3,000 family members with finding family doctors here in the NCR. It's a great program. So that was my first point in how to engage the whole family, and that is, again, kind of a simple way, but really is listening and responding to the needs of the community. So I'm going to ask you guys now, does anybody have an example similar to that in terms of somebody came in and was asking for something and you guys responded? I'd love to hear from you guys now if anybody wants to give me an example on how they listened and responded to the needs of their community. I'll ask you to either raise your hand or write in the comment box. I'm sure some of you have. And if we don't have anybody, that's good. Or are you thinking? Are people thinking? We started a community kitchen. I love it. Can you expand on that, Nancy, and how the community kitchen works? And you obviously have the facilities for it. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so it's family who came over and said we want to start a community. It's very popular in Quebec City, so they had the experience in Quebec, and they wanted to do it here. So it's a great way to integrate people, and it's bilingual, so people can look at a recipe in English or French, and because it's around something to do, very often communication is easier. They come once a month, decide about the recipes, go do the shopping, and cook together, and go back home with some of the food. So it has this up and down because it depends on the group. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes I have less people.
Yes.
And I'm starting each September with a information session about the community kitchen and make sure that the group can have ways to meet. So I try to use the WebEx for them to be able to decide about the recipes and talk to each other. So that's the way I use WebEx for the community kitchen before they meet to cook.
I love it. Nancy, where are you located?
Kingston.
Kingston, awesome, wonderful. I love the community. Do you have the kitchen facilities right in your MFRC?
We did a partnership with the church just across from the street where they have a kitchen, so we can use their facility. So it's about partnership, so we partner with them.
Yes.
We also have now a teenage group that started to do a community kitchen also in the after-school program. So and they love it. They have a 10 or 12 weeks session.
That's wonderful. Thanks so much, Nancy, for sharing that. A really great idea. And what Nancy mentioned, which I think is really relevant here, is that people are doing something productive. And they're coming away with something, but yet at the same time they're being integrated with each other. They're being integrated with the church and a partnership there, and just a win-win. So thank you, Nancy, for that. And if any of us want to know more information on community kitchens, I think we're going to be giving you a shout. Thank you. Did anybody else have something that they wanted to share before we move on? I see that somebody said they had started an English conversation group to help practice their English in a welcoming environment. That's wonderful. I'm sure that's really popular in the Quebec MFRCs. Great, thank you. So the next point, I'm just looking at the time, I don't have much time left. So the next point that I wanted to make about engaging our community is that here in the Military Family Resource Center of the National Capital Region, we have a huge geographic diversity and a demographic diversity. So I keep that, and we keep that in mind. It's actually at the top of our list, the geographic diversity usually, and the way we program in an outreach way. And also the demographics, the base here seems, or not the base, the community here seems to be made of sometimes older people. You know, Ottawa, there are younger community members there. Anyway, either way, we are conscious of their demographic diversity and the geographic diversity, and we are conscious of this, and we endeavor to meet the needs of our wide geographic community by, for example, the adult activity that we have planned for the month of October is we have a local artist coming in, and she is helping family members create a poppy silk scarf. The unique thing about this is that we're doing it in 4 different areas of the community. So my partner and I have gone out and we have found facilities in the West End. We have found facilities over in the Gatineau area, a facility in the Orleans East End, and a facility here locally in the central area where our building is. And we will offer that same program 4 times during this month. So our family members have an opportunity to engage with us and with each other in the community of their choice. And we do that a lot. It seems, for people that have lived in Ottawa their whole life, that might not seem like a challenging thing, but somebody comes from either a smaller town or even just a different town, navigating the highways and the city of Ottawa can be really challenging. So we try to program in all of our geographic areas. Another thing that we do is we offer adult-only events. And we do this both male and female. So we'll offer, this past summer, we were successful with one of our brewery tours. And we also do pub night out at local pubs. And we do this again in all 4 areas of the city. So people from those areas can come and engage with each other and with the community. So one of the things, what else did I want to say about that? Oh, well, the other way that we, my other colleague, Joanne, our transition coordinator, has started doing Facebook Live. And so that's why she does them on various topics, kind of similar to this WebEx, but more for our outreach community. And Facebook Lives are various different topics about our programs and services. And Joanne brings in a guest speaker, and they do a live visual video thing with Facebook Live. And if that doesn't work, they tape it on YouTube, and then we host it up on our website and our Facebook page. So our community, no matter where they live, can get the same information if somebody came in. So that's another way that we are conscious of our demographic and our geographic diversity here in the city of Ottawa, or in the National Capital Region, excuse me, because we also service the people in Quebec. So does anybody have a comment or suggestion or question about that and how that relates to everything that you do in your community? Does anybody want to comment on that before we move on?
Hi, it's Helen Jane here from Edmonton.
Hi, who's actually speaking? It's kind of hard to hear you.
I'll just type it and you can read it.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm moving the microphone closer, and she's also typing out a comment.
Okay, great. So, yeah, sorry, go ahead. Okay.
You've got a few questions here. How long are the Facebook Live sessions?
The Facebook Live sessions are anywhere from about 15 minutes to a half an hour, depending on the topic and how long the person's talking.
Okay.
She tries to limit it to a half an hour at the very most, and that is a little long. So most people, I think, if they're going to be watching the Facebook Live or the YouTube video, they don't want much more than 15 minutes. Some have gone longer, but I think the general idea is that you keep them under around 15 minutes.
Okay, and you've also got a comment here from Helen Jane Tarso who says, we have had people asking for more adult-only events. Deployment Language Services and Outreach have started a supper club. We are picking out a restaurant each month and going out as a group. The first one was Blowers in Grafton, Halifax Cuisine, here in Edmonton. And we had 22 people register. 17 out of those 22 came out, and we had a great time. This month we're going to a German restaurant. In November we're in search for a veteran-owned restaurant.
Oh, I love it. Awesome. The adult nights out are really popular over the last year. And here in the NCR, I think part of that is because the messes are downtown and there's no parking and a lot of people don't go to them. So, you know, we're kind of recreating, not that we don't want to go to the mess because people do, but it's just not geographically easy to get to the messes here in the NCR. So we're kind of recreating that at the pub night. So great on you. Those sound like great, and I love the way that you've done different themes depending on the month. Good stuff. So my last point about engaging the whole family or engaging families in the NCR is that we use community partnerships. So again, here in Ottawa, we almost can't program in the outreach areas without engaging community partnerships. We use the Legions frequently, and often we have Legion space for free. We use the messes as well, and we use the community kitchens in the superstores. And we use, also have used other recreation centers. So one I wanted to talk about in particular, which was a huge success, last April for the month of the military child, we partnered with a community center here called Dover Court. And the executive director, who happens to be an acquaintance of mine, is just he was, for him it was a win-win. Get military members, military families into his center, and then we were winning in that we get to use his community center. And we had over 100 family members come out to the month of the military child. We did, he provided, we paid for, but he provided his lifeguards, and that was the only thing that we had to pay for with this community partnership. And he also provided a huge space upstairs, so after the swimming survival activities that the families participated in, we went upstairs and we enjoyed some food together, and we enjoyed some activities upstairs, and it was a really beautiful, lovely evening. So the community got to see the recreation center that was in another place in the city. We got to use the space that was huge and lovely and had a lot more space than we have here. And because it was in April, there's only an outdoor pool here at the NCR here on the base, so we got to use an indoor pool and have an indoor swimming activity. And this gentleman, the executive director of this community center, was just extremely open to the idea, and it helped him and to help us out. And it was just a really great partnership, and we will continue that partnership with Dover. Another way we partner, once a month we have a fairly large family activity. And these family activities, we listened and were responding here in Ottawa. People want, in the NCR, people wanted family activities. So we are responding by, and I will pull all my points together. We listened and responded with our family events. We are offering our family events all over the city, and we use partnerships for most of these large family events once a month. So that Dover Court swimming activity for the month of military child. We have partnered here with PSP for a pool party in the summertime. Here in October, we're going to Saunders Farm, which is a facility in the west end of the city. We already have 140 people registered for that. And it's simple as the community partnership is that we're offering a discount to go to Saunders Farm, but I will show up, the MFRC will show up, we'll greet every family member that comes to the Saunders Farm in the morning. I will give them a pin. We've had some swag, some pins made up that say Military Family Proud, and each family member will wear that pin while they're in Saunders Farm, and they'll get to identify each other, and they'll also get to feel proud if they choose to wear that pin while they're in there. So that community partnership, a lot of our family events don't require a huge amount of work on our part when we are partnering with a community space. They don't require a huge amount of work on our part, and yet we get families together, and they get to see a part of the NCR that they haven't seen, and they get to engage and meet each other. So the community partnerships are really important here in the NCR. And we do regular programming across the city, as I said earlier, and we use our partnerships for that. So those are my 3 points on ways that we endeavor to engage the whole family here in the National Capital Region by keeping these 3 points in mind as we program. So I think that's it for me. Anybody have, anybody want to talk about partnerships? It has success with your community partnerships. Or does anybody want to comment on any of my points? I hope they were useful to you.
That was excellent. Thanks a lot, Heather. I just got to tell everybody, I mean, it's difficult sometimes on the spot to think, oh, which community event was that worked out really well. So if you have these ideas after the fact, please do send them along, because I'm happy to post them to the website as ideas for all the other MFRC staff who might be looking for some cool ideas that have worked in your community. So feel free to pass those along. Also, I've put Heather's contact info on the first page. So if you have any questions about these, please feel free to reach out to Heather directly as well, and to each other to try to figure out what's working really well for today's families and what are some new ideas that we might like to try. So I'm going to end it here just so that we all end on time and we can get to our other meetings or possibly our lunch if that's what we're waiting for. And thank you so much, Heather. If you can stay on the line, that would be great, Heather. And for the rest of you, have a great afternoon, and we'll see you at the next WebXchange.
Thanks, everyone, for participating. Have a great day.